Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. We're back with our Yule Marathon, and we've had a great day. We've been doing well. We're going to be talking to Kennedy. Okay, I lost it already.
Schenberg. Kennedy
Shedberg.
Schenberg.
Okay, that you have to take a whole drink for, folks. And he is an artist and also a curator and sharing of other artists and shows and things like that. And welcome, Kennedy. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the time today.
And so you do art. And I think art is one of those things that we have a lot of in the community and very little in the community. Can you tell us a little bit about your art?
My art is more based on metaphysical concepts, and it's also gothic and horror and um pagan based. So it's a mix. My primary medium is bones. I actually carve bones, real bones that have been ethically sourced. No animal was killed in order to get its bones. Um, I also use other sources like wood or horns or antlers, which are all ethically sourced. People think that you kill an animal to get the horns. A lot of deer shed their horns. That's why they're called shed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do wood burning, painting. I've created Ouija boards, giant artistic planchettes, um, lots of what are they called? My brain is cramping because I've been up since 3 a.m. Runes and create our own deck of tarot cards called Wood Tarot. Um, Art for me helps me release all my stresses and things like that.
So let's right away. Let's go. Where can they find your art? They can online.
If you do like a Google search, you can type in my name, Kennedy Schenberg, or the art of Kennedy Schenberg, and I have a Facebook page and an Instagram which has all my art. Um, I literally post on my art at least once a day. I do something. I
Okay.
try every day to add a piece of art.
And if you see something you like, you just go ahead and DM
It,
him or contact him. Hmm?
correct. You just message me on the little message apps. I think I have my phone number on a couple of them. You can text me. I respond as soon as I see the message. If the my phone is working right, I'll respond within minutes, unless I'm sound asleep.
Okay, that's good. And so yeah, and we're gonna have that in the notes as well. And so heard bones, carving bones. That sounds really interesting because I know a lot of bone collectors. Um,
Yes.
and I know that people ask me, well, what do you mean bone collectors? They collect from roadkill or animals that have passed, or another system or systems where the animal has passed, sometimes violently. Roadkill is not nice, but or
Right.
but it doesn't leave the animal to be wasted. And I even have a friend who says, "Oh, I'll wait until the vultures are done." They have turkey vultures in middle of Illinois. That's that
Yep.
sort of thing. And
Um,
hmm?
when you so in Illinois, you shouldn't really be picking up roadside kill because you're supposed to have a permit. But there are roadside. The Department of Transportation has dump sites, and you can always go there and pick through that. Or you just find bones that have been what they call naturally dealt with or nature cleaned, usually along water sources like rivers and streams. That's where people can actually find them quite easily.
I did not know that. That's interesting because there are a lot of bone collectors out there, uh,
Yeah.
skulls and pieces of it, and so there's nothing wrong with that. And because, as you said, ethically, because I know there are a lot of other people who would say, "Oh no, you should never do that," but you carve them. So what do you carve them into, or how to?
Um, well, how there's different ways. Typically I use a Dremel, but I also use awls or different types of sanding equipment, files and things like that. Depends on what exactly I'm carving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and most of my artistic stuff that carving and bones runs along Viking themes, very paganish, more Wiccan styles. I'll have moons or the mother goddess on there, or just sort of, I don't want to say hatchet marks, but there are these um if you were to look at Viking clothing or remnants of their society, you'll see these triangle markings that are sort of almost cuneiform. And I incorporate that stuff for tidal movements like waves and very tribalistic. Um, I actually have a piece that I could quickly
Mhm.
transport the camera over. Let's see if
Okay.
I could actually change the camera angle. Yeah, right
Your
there.
walls are beautiful. They're filled with here. Let me go ahead and change
Thank
our
you.
point of view. There
And
we go.
there's one
Wow.
skull that I've carved. And I will often with a skull, what I'll do is when I'm working on it, I will turn it or add like gold leaf or silver leaf, and it's real. It's not fake. It's real gold leaf and silver leaf and stuff like that. So they'll have that. I've um I've been doing this now, the carving of the bones for about 9 years, and I'm pretty well known in the bone carving community.
I didn't even know there was a bone carving community. So we are learning so much through this marathon. Now, for folks who are bone carvers, there is a community. If you're just getting into it, there is a community. Now, I want to talk about the second thing you mentioned because I think it's very popular. Tarot is a growing art. It seems to be getting more adherence every day. And you said
Yes,
you do wood, the wooden tarot. Can you talk about
yes,
that?
absolutely, yes. So a lot of my hand art, like drawing and painting, comes from dreams. And I had a dream of drawing a tarot card that was mandala based. And so I got up in the middle of the night and drew it out. And I was like, that's cool. And then I had another dream. And I had a week worth of dreams. And that was a week worth of tarot cards. And then I was like, I wonder if I could draw out a deck. So over the period of 4 months, I drew a tarot card almost every day until we had a full deck. And a friend of mine does laser burning because I couldn't hand burn all these cards.
No.
So I sent him the pictures and I asked him if he'd be interested in doing this. And so after a little bit of work, we came up with a full deck of wooden tarot cards. Um, I actually have our display board right next to me. I wasn't even planning on showing it to anyone,
You
but I
should. This
can.
is this is what we want. We want people to find wonderful and unusual gifts.
All right. Well, and we sell tarot cards, and these are wood. They're not paper thin veneer wood. They are actually good solid wood,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see them.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is amazing when you hold the deck in your hands. It feels very. It's like you're electrified with them, and
So it's a okay, go ahead.
they're the regular size tarot cards. So I mean, literally, you could just use them like regular size tarot cards. We have two deck sizes, the traditional size, which it comes out to like 3 by 5, I think, or a little under that. And then we also have a miniature set, which is like 1 by 2 or 2.5 by 3. I don't remember the exact dimensions. That's not my department. My department is just drawing them.
Yeah.
The smaller deck comes with a box already made for it, and the larger deck you have to have your own box, or you can order one added to it. But when we first printed them off, it was quite amazing. When I held it, I was like, wow. I mean, the hair on the back of my neck stood up because it was like you were really connected to the universe. It wasn't just a piece of paper that I
Mm-hmm.
was hoping for the universe to give me something. It was a direct connection to the universe. And it's not the flimsy little paper that or wood that you'll see online, the veneers where they bend. They don't bend.
So
They're
this
rock
is
solid.
like for serious reading. You go out there, they fall like wood. You see them. Wow.
Exactly.
So that is so for you tarot collectors. That's a rare item, and I don't think there are that many out there. So if you're a tarot collector or a tarot user, I could see. Can you imagine asking somebody to shuffle that? It'll be a whole different experience for them. So there
Well,
you go.
absolutely. When I have people shuffle because you know I was raised doing tarot. I started doing tarot when I was 7 years old. My mother was a professional tarot reader, and one of the rules that they never shuffle it like it's a card deck because they're not card decks. They're
Mm.
tools or gateways into the universe, and so you have to treat it with a level of respect. And sort of since it's kind of astrological based, it
Mm-hmm.
should be shuffled like it was planets in different orbits. So that's the way I do it, and I let people do it, and they just sit there and they'll hold each section that they are shuffling, and they'll smell them, and they get this texture feel to it. they're like really connected to the cards that they're about to provide for me to lay out for them.
That's a fascinating. Now let's go ahead and talk about your service to community, because so you've seen the wood carvings, you've seen some of the bone carvings, you do some of the paintings. I see all that beautiful art, but you
Thank you.
also mentioned that you help organize art
Yeah.
shows. Can you talk a little bit about that, because that's important?
Sure. Until the pandemic hit, we were having bones and cones. And actually, I think you could see right behind me one of our old flyers. Um,
I remember
and
that. Okay.
yeah, and so it was an art show for marginalized artists,
Hmm.
typically pagan or gothic or horror-based artists. And what we would do is create an art show venue for them to come, and they literally keep 100% of their sales. They just came in, and we would draw the crowd in by offering ice cream as part of the process. So it was a dark art and ice cream social.
I remember that.
And
I do.
we,
Okay.
yeah, and we started the first show we had 8 years ago or 9 years ago was 6 artists. And we had managed to continue to grow. The last show we had 32 artists.
Wow.
And we had one come from New York, one come from Pennsylvania, and two from Ohio. So they're traveling far to be in our show now. That's how popular we have become.
And that's a great
And then,
thing. And we were talking about that, this is part of, we want people to buy from our own community. That's why we're doing this. We're introducing new people to new people. People are going to be have been incredibly surprised by the diversity of people we have in offerings. And you had a really good point. We were, and are talking about, it's not enough just to buy from an artist. You need to do more than that if you really want to be really supportive.
exactly. And, you know, right now, it's especially it's people, money is tight, and we understand. And most people that have friends, most artists that have friends have already bought from them to be supportive. But that seems to be where it kind of ends. And I encourage people, especially artists and people who are friends of artists, it is not enough to support them by just buying one piece once in a lifetime. But I'm not telling you go buy more. What I'm saying is that you share this art, you promote your friends, and you just basically share it on the social media, or just as well as post a picture of the art you bought in your home so people can see people are actually buying it and putting it on display. Because that way a growing audience is what helps your fellow artists. Even myself, I share people's art all the time. I buy other people's art. You promote them. People will say, well, artists are in competition. We are not. No artists are in competition, for the simple fact is my art is not like anyone else's, and no one's else art is like me. Some of my friends like, I like your art, Kennedy, but I want that person's. Cool, go buy that person. Yeah, all you do is because that person has friends that may not like their art to buy, but they may like mine. And so we exchange. And that's what I promote is the idea of sharing your friend's art is really helpful to them. Buying one piece is great, and giving them great positive feedback saying how awesome it is, that's nice too. However, the best way is to have the rest of the world share it with them so they can see it. And then maybe some of those people in that expanded audience will decide to buy art. And that is where artists become successful.
So, folks, you hear that? I think that's a really sensible, very reasonable answer. Because I do. I have bought an art. I've got a number of pieces of art, some are on my altar and things like that. But I'm not much of a materialist, so people don't. But I love seeing art in other people's homes. I see it on the walls all the time, and places like a lot of our temples are now putting people's art on their walls, and you ask
Mhm.
about it and things of that nature. Coffee shops do it a lot. I think coffee shops are lovely when they put the wall in the art and they have a little tag and where buy it. So
That's that's
hmm?
what I do. All the art I have little tags of the artists, literally.
Okay.
So if people come to my house, like this is an art piece by Damon Raleigh, and his business card is right underneath. I have an Arthur Ashe. His information is right there. I try to do that. So when people come to my home, and my friends say my house is like a gallery slash museum, they have the opportunity because they bring friends. They can see, oh, I love this art. There's their business card and contact information, so they can go forward. I don't expect that of everyone else in the world, but the idea is I'm promoting. I'm doing what I'm saying. I'm promoting other artists as much as I can.
That's absolutely wonderful and fascinating. So, so wow. So you can, so folks, there it is. Living the life and living the dream and doing that. So, okay, so let me go into our last question, and we're going to be back. I have a feeling we're going to talk to Kennedy more in the future here soon, because I think this has been eye-opening for me. Thank you. So what is your Yule practices? I know you're out in the Midwest, the land of snow and darkness at times. Do you have Yule practices?
Um, so I was raised in a Wiccan family, and we celebrated. My mother really pushed it. Uh, a person who is part of the universe should understand all the features of the universe. So we literally celebrated as many holiday forms as we could. So we have a Christmas tree, we have a menorah, we would celebrate an Eid with and the colors. We would go all the way to understand these other religions, not only because a lot of these religions would persecute us. So, it's good to know your enemy. But the key here is if you understand these people and what their values are, you can meet them at a level that's equal and fair and less hostile.
Mm-hmm.
And while alternative religions or paganism or whatever you want to call it is kind of becoming very popular right now, it is not, I think, in the best terms, being respected in its popularity. It's you get all
Mm-hmm.
these people are saying, I am this. Well, what does that really mean to you? And they don't really have an answer because they just want to be something. And for me, Wicca is a connection to the universe and nature and everything else. Everything is part of that. So we have to somehow increase our knowledge of that environment.
That makes absolute sense, and that's a lovely aspect of it. So find his art, Kennedy, and I'm gonna let him pronounce his last name again because it's still tripping my tongue here.
Kennedy Schenberg.
And how do you
Art.
spell that?
It's SHEN is November, BERG.
Okay.
And you can find my personal Facebook page is Kennedy Coldforge. If people can't find the last name, just Kennedy Coldforge, and then
Terrific.
YouTube.
And so as I do, I think this is great. I think not only do support the artists, support Kennedy here, but also support other artists and show them. I mean, I think this idea of putting tags next to things is something a lot of fun. It makes your house a little bit of a mini gallery, and it lets us walk around.
Right.
So yeah, go
And
ahead and say it. You look at your.
a lot of artists have their signature or stamp on their art, and a lot of times it's not really readable or it's just initials, and then we forget. So that's why I put that tag there. So because I can't remember all the artist names, and a lot of them just have like little symbol or a couple scratched letters, and I'm like, I don't know who that is, and it's hard to look that up. But if I have that tag, then I say, oh, this person, and that's how to contact them. Yeah.
There you go. And so we're going to continue. So to continue on. Hope you guys are all having a great Yule festival. And I think this is one way, for those people who you say can't find anything. I think this is a little unusual. I think this is something that would blow their minds. And so you still have plenty of time to contact Kennedy, Kennedy Coldforge. I like that out there. So as always, I give my guest the last word. Do you have last things to say to our audience?
Treat the world how you want to be treated.
With that, have a happy holiday and blessed be.